Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News, September 17th, 2018. And ladies and gentlemen, just a few hours ago, a news station, KVIA in New Mexico, is reporting that the Sunspot Solar Observatory that was supposedly shut down for security reasons by the FBI as they were conducting an investigation will reopen Monday morning. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play their news report video that was just on the news a few minutes to midnight. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina Weil.
And I am Adrian Ochoa. Breaking news today about the Sunspot Solar Observatory in New Mexico. The facility has been closed for 10 days, but today the company that runs the observatory announced it will reopen tomorrow.
And questions have been swirling about the reasons for the closure, and we finally got some answers today. Sunspot is located about 15 miles south of Cloudcroft, New Mexico. When I was there earlier last week, many officials were tight-lipped about the situation. Today, Aura, the company that manages Sunspot, released a statement saying the reason for the closure was because of criminal activity. They say a suspect in the investigation posed a threat to the staff at the observatory and to the residents who live in the area. Also, because of the remote location, Aura says the observatory needed to be evacuated to ensure their safety. The statement does not go into any specifics about the suspect, whether that suspect is in custody, or any details about the investigation.
And as to the reason for the lack of communications with the media and residents while the facility was vacated, Aura addressed that as well, saying, quote, "However, our desire to provide additional information had to be balanced against the risk that, if spread at the time, the news would alert the suspect and impede the law enforcement investigation. That was a risk we could not take," end quote. And Aura says that they have determined that there is no longer a risk to staff at the observatory, and the observatory will be back to regular operations tomorrow.
Well, you know, folks,
Good afternoon, and thank
I don't know about the narrative that's being played out right here, right now on this news report. What doesn't make any sense to me, if there was any type of criminal activity, they do have a local sheriff, a local police department. Why were they not notified, and why was the Federal Bureau of Investigations brought in? You know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that we will ever truly know what went down at the Sunspot Solar Observatory in New Mexico. Now, I have a full report on this news report, and it is located on the planetxnews.org website. I'll leave a link in the description box under the video. Now, something that I do want to show all of you. Just a few days after all of this occurred at this Sunspot New Mexico Observatory, Dr. Albers and I were reviewing some of the Solar Dynamics Observatory video footage, specifically on the 48-hour loop. And this was back on the 13th through the entire day of the 14th, and just going into the morning of the 15th of September. I believe on the time stamp, we're looking at just a few minutes to midnight on the 15th. So, not to confuse you, this was taken on the 14th at approximately 2300 hours, which would be 11 p.m. This is the Solar Dynamics Observatory shot that I took, and clearly you can see 1, 2, 3 objects passing by the sun, and these objects were actually coming towards us. They were not ejected from the sun. They were no part of a coronal mass ejection. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next photograph so you can clearly see this object is either quite smaller or further back and away from the camera. This object appears and so does this object, much more clear in this photograph. We're going to change over to a little bit of a different coloring. Again, you see the spherical object here, here, and here. A little bit darker here, here, and here. And one more time in a negative, one here, and one here. And ladies and gentlemen, I was making sure and checking the position of Mercury. Mercury would not be showing up in any of these 48-hour loops on the SDO. Clearly, you have an object passing by here, here, and here. I mean, it could possibly be some type of a cluster of these smaller stellar cores. There seems to be a smaller one down here, but it is very, very unclear. Dr. Albers and I have been poring over this video footage for a couple of days now. And, our conclusion is based on, everything that's been happening around the world. We see this catastrophic weather. We see changes in temperatures in the Arctic, the North Pole. Everything that is coming together is like a storyline. And I've been talking about this storyline since 2016, and we will continue to investigate and research what is happening. But here, once again, we have clear evidence that there are objects around our sun that are possibly orbiting our sun and interacting with our sun. Here on Planet X News over the past 3 years, we have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that these objects exist. Now here we see once again on the SDO, dated just a few minutes before midnight on September 14th, we have 3 objects passing by the sun. Now those objects are not stationary, folks. They were actually moving towards the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here, and I want to show you a piece of video that was on the same day. Now this is the Solar Dynamics Observatory, the SDO, and you say to yourself, okay, well, what's so special about this piece of video? Well, folks, I want you to pay very close attention to this area right here, okay? Any of you that are watching this on a cell phone, you may not be able to see this, and you're really missing out. For all of you that are watching this on a computer monitor or your big flat screen TV at home, I want you to pay very close attention to this area right here. You will see an object pass right through the corona of the sun in the same direction as I was just pointing out to you in the photographs that you just saw, proving once again, beyond a shadow of a doubt, an object passed very close within the reach of the sun's corona at a very high rate of speed. You see it right there as it passes by. You just have to watch your screen very carefully, and you will see it. Here it comes. Zip, right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's a high possibility that these people at this observatory saw something that startled them. Maybe that prompted them to notify federal authorities, and the FBI was sent in. I don't know. I don't think we will ever know. But what I'm showing you here today was an object clearly passing by the sun, and it was close enough that it passed within the sun's corona and created a disturbance. If you watch very carefully, right there, again, there it went. Ladies and gentlemen, back in, I believe, March or April of 2017, just before Dr. Albers came to the United States, we had captured a piece of video And it's deep within the videos here on Planet X News, but we captured a similar object passing, well, I would say about way down here, maybe the 7 o'clock position, another huge dark spherical object passing right through the sun's corona. And we showed that object on several live streams, and I have to go back and dig up the video footage of that because I have so much to go through. But again, paying very close attention, right up here, you will see that object pass by. You know, folks, I checked with all of the other NASA solar sites. Okay, there were no coronal mass ejections in that area. There were no solar flares. There was very, very little activity in this area other than a very, very small, what they refer to as a solar tornado. It was so minor that you could barely see it right there where my cursor is. But what you can see is you can clearly see an object zipping by right there. And it's very hard to see. And I wish that I can get more of a higher definition, but I can't. I tried and I tried. If I zoom into this area, it gets kind of blurry. Now, I know for a fact that NASA has much, much higher resolution coming from the SDO, but we do not get to see it. Okay, now again, this object passed by the sun on September 14th at approximately 2300 hours, 1 hour to midnight. And you can see it. It's not an anomaly. It is a spherical object, and it is quite big. I would have to say that object is much, much bigger than Jupiter, maybe 5 times the size of Jupiter. And ladies and gentlemen, in order for that object to disturb the corona of the sun, it would have had to have been moving at a high rate of speed, and its mass would have had to have been massive. So, is this what they saw at the observatory? I doubt it. You know, their telescopes have these huge H-alpha filters on them, and all they look at pretty much is a blank disk on the sun. They don't see things as the Solar Dynamics Observatory sees the sun. So this is what we have. Once again, Planet X News showing you cold, hard facts of what is out there lurking around our sun. Is it creating disturbances here on Earth? Your guess is good as mine, but I say, based on everything that I have researched and what Dr. Albers has researched, I believe these objects are creating issues with our sun. Therefore, those issues are creating problems here on Mother Earth. And I do believe the governments are trying to hide this from the world population. And we all know that, well, hell, they have their own agenda. But as you can clearly see, this object passes by. There it went. I'll let it play one more time for all of you to see it. And I tried to go back and grab the information, but unfortunately on the SDO, this composite image, you can't get a playback. So I was lucky to capture this that day on the 48-hour loop. I have the videos saved of that object passing by the sun. So we had an update on the Solar Observatory. Sunspot in New Mexico reopening Monday morning. And the narrative is they had a security threat by an individual, but they failed to call the local police department. They called in federal authorities to take care of the issue. Will we ever hear any more about this? Who knows? All I have to say is, folks, stay tuned. And if you can, do me a favor and share this video with all of your friends and family members on Facebook and social media. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching.